finishing of the judgment on water, the Gemara Din on Mayim, Chsimas Adin. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Geshem, rain in general, and then our avoda, which is going to bring the rain, we hope, which has. Eila told us Hashemayim v'aretz. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth. Behi baram, b'yom asos Hashem Elokim eretz v'shemayim. And the day that God created the land and the heavens. V'kol siach asad atem yeh ba'aretz, v'kol esav asad atem yitzmach. There was no growth. Ki lo himte Hashem Elokim al ha'aretz. God had not yet made rain onto the ground. V'adam, and there was no man, ayin la'avodas adama, to work the land. Ve'ed yaleh min ha'aretz. Now, aid, we'll see, is a bit of an issue. Rashi learns it seems to be some sort of a cloud went up from the ground. V'hishka es kol pnei adama. And then, v'yitza Hashem Elokim es adam. And then God created man. So, the issue is like this. Famous Rashi here, that Hashem waited to bring the rain. He didn't want to bring the rain until there was a man. Because he wanted, there was somebody, as Rashi puts it, that there should be someone to be Makir Tov, that there should one who could recognize the goodness. And Rashi puts it like this. There was nobody to work the ground. And nobody would recognize the goodness of the brain. So when Adam Rishon was created, then Hashem brought the rain because he knew that that's what the world needed. Rashi, by the way, points out that he needed somebody who was Makir Tov. In other words, someone had to appreciate what rain is all about and then daven for it. The recognition of the significance of the rain was what Adam was, because he was capable of having that, and then he could have a true tefillah for the rain. And that's a very famous Rashi. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu does not bring rain until there's a man created to recognize it and daven for it. Now listen to this. It says like this. The next pasuk says, "Ve'ed ya'aleh min ha'aretz," and then Ananim came up from the, clouds came up from the ground, and they watered the face of the earth. So Rashi says, "Le'inyan briyasa shel adam," in order to create the man, hele hatahom. The tahom means the inner cavity of the world where the water is. Vehishki ananim. And it watered, clouds watered, lishros ha'afa, to make the offer of the world wet. V'nivra adam, and man was created. Kigabel zeh shenosim. It was like Kadosh Baruch Hu took water, and afterwards he added it to dirt, and it was like like a dough. There's a problem over here. It says the only time that Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring rain if there's a man to recognize the rain. So that's what it says in the first pasuk. Then the second pasuk said, and he brought, what literally means the aid. Aid means a cloud. And he watered the ground. But there was no man. The next pasuk is the creation of man. So, it's a bit of an issue. So Rashi's coming to answer that. That's what Hoshana explained. Rashi's coming to tell you, well, first of all, this water that he did bring was in order that he could create man in the first place. Okay? Number two is, it says, Ve'ed ya'aleh min ha'aretz. It came from the ground. So here, now Rashi learns it was anonim. Okay? Rashi says it was anonim. The Midrashim seem to imply it could have came directly from the ground. Well, see, this is significant. Now, it's either it came from the Tahom directly onto the ground and watered the ground, or Rashi seems to learn it came from the Tahom, it came from the inner cavity of the world, and it created rain. But it wasn't rain that came from the Mala. And the whole purpose of this rain was just to water the earth enough to create man. So that was justified. That's how the Meforshim explain how Rashi understands the pasuk. Otherwise, the Pesukim are a bit of a theory. He says you're not going to have rain until you have a man, and then he brings rain right away. Now, So that's point Aleph. Now, the Vilna Gaon is medayik this pasuk, and he says that it says there was no man. He learns a little differently. Rashi learns there was no man, and there was no man to recognize the rain and daven for it. So the Vilna Gaon says that's the pshat. Ve'ed yalem min haaretz, and then moisture came up from the ground. There was either it came from the Tehom itself, or it came from these clouds, which came from the Tehom, came from this inner cavity. Says the Vilna Gaon, the pshat's like this. He brings Pirkei the Rebbe Lazar says as follows: Bizman sheYisrael ein osim ritzono shel makom, when the Klal Yisrael does not do the will of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, makom memayim atachtonim hem shosim, we get to drink from the waters that come from below. Mipnei sheHaYisrael machabrim shemayim v'aretz, the Klal Yisrael combine the heavens and the earth. When we do the right things, we combine heaven and earth. Az yorido agashamim l'mala. That's when there's going to come down rain from above. V'im lo netzarim l'mala. Then it won't come. And that's how he learns pshat. There was no man created. So where did Hashem have to bring the rain? He couldn't bring it from above. He says, since there were no maisim, there were no deeds to merit bringing rain from above. So then, Eid Yalem Einatz, it came from the Taktonim. It came from the Tahom. It had to come from below. So according to Vilna Gaon, that's the pshat. The pshat is, there was no man, so we didn't get rain from above. We got from the Taktonim. He doesn't explain whether it came from Anonim, whether it came from water that filled up clouds, or like it's Mashmin the Medrash and Pirkei Rebbe Lazar that came from so directly from the ground. But either way, this is not rain from above. This is not the classical rain. This is rain from below. This is water from below. And if we're not Zaycha, if we don't merit it, that's where we get our water. But if we merit it, we can get water from above. I'd just like to share with you that the Pirkei Rebbe Lazar says clearly that there's two types of rain. There's two types of rain. There's rain that comes from below, and there's rain that comes from above. Eid Yalem min haaretz, he says that's rain that came from below. And he says, Va'avim she'ovim mayim min ha'tahomos, the clouds get water from below. Shenema mala nisi'i miksei haaretz. Nisima is another word for clouds that came from the corners of the earth. Wherever Hashem tells them to make the rain, that's where they make the rain. So Hashem the water comes from what we call in English evaporation, I believe it was. Remember that? That was in 8th grade science. I skipped the 8th grade. There was a problem. In my school, they had this thing, you skip 8th grade. So I had to make it up in the 7th and the 9th. But that's what they did in the 8th grade science, right? But kids said this is a medrash. The medrash says that what? That the water came from below, and wherever Kodesh Baruch Hu wants it to rain, that's where it rained. Miyad haaretz misaberes b'tzmeicha. And that's when, and immediately, the world becomes, as it were, impregnated and starts to grow. Now listen what it says. Ki isha almana, it's like a widow, she uberes miznus, that is getting impregnated through extramarital affair. Aval kishiyirtza Kodesh Baruch Hu levarech, when a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to bless the world, simcha shel eretz liten seidan al abrios poseach otzros hatov shebeshamayim. When Hashem wants to really give us blessing, he opens up his heavenly otzer, his heavenly treasure chest, umantel haaretz, and he makes it rain. Shem mayim zacharin, that's called male rain. The water that comes from below is called female because it's from the aretz, and the rain that comes from above is called the zachar, is the male. Umiyad aretz misaberes kekala, she misaberes mibala rishon. The water, the world starts to grow like and become there's like a birth, like a woman, like a kala from her chassan. Unbelievable. In other words, there's two types of rain. You can get rain from below, and here it's clearly talking about rain. You get rain from below. That's from the Tachtonim. And it brings bracha. But also the Shemayim is rain from above. Now it's mashma in the Meforshim here that that's Taka the Groa who learns that Geshem comes. It's all from a Kodesh. Because see, Geshem comes only totally from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. All types of rain, it all comes from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. But there's two types. It comes from below, the Tachtonim, and then when we're Zoichet to real bracha, it comes from above, and that's like a Chassan and a Kala, which is unbelievable. Now, that being said, so that's point Aleph here. There's two types of rain, and the first rain, the first waters that came, they came from below. That's number one. Number two. Now, you have to follow along over here. These psukim are very interesting. They're the first time in the Chumash where it says, Ela tola shemayim ha-shemayim va'aretz b'hi baram b'yom asos Hashem Elokim. Hashem is Yud Kei Vav Kei, God's name. Elokim, Eretz v'shemayim. Then he said Hashem had not yet brought rain. Hashem Elokim, it says it twice. God, Hashem Elokim, Yud Kei Vav Kei, God's ineffable name and the name of His all-powerful Al Aretz. It says it twice. This is the first time we have the combination of using Hashem's name for Rachamim, Yud Kei Vav Kei, together with Elokim, which is Din. Now, point Aleph. The Vilna Gaon explains that all rain, all Geshem is from a Kodesh Baruch Hu direct. There's a mahalach of Teva in the world. There's a process of nature in the world for everything except for rain. Rain is not subject to the rules of nature. Rain is directly from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And that's what it means. There are shlosh maftechos. There are three keys that a Kodesh Baruch Hu kept for himself. One of them is for rain. One is for life, for the chaya, for the woman who gives birth, makes help a woman give birth, and nevuah. These are three maftechos. And prophecy. Are you a prophet over there? Prophecy comes from the Eibishter. Birth comes from the Kodesh Baruch Hu, life, and rain, Geshem. It's a Gemara. Wait a minute. Now listen. Says the Vilna Gaon, all rain is lamala min hateva. Rain is outside the rules of nature, and it's really based on a Gemara. The Gemara says in Tainus, the Gemara compares rain to, it's called Gvuras Geshamim. Gvuras Geshamim is the strength, the power of a Kodesh Baruch Hu is shown by rain, and it's compared to Tchias HaMesim. The Lashon of Vilna Gaon is, Ki Geshamim Eino Al Pi HaTeva Klal. Quoting from the Gaon, it's not according to nature at all. Ki Kol HaDavarim Ba'olam, everything is Al Pi Teva, even the sun and the setting. Everyone agrees it's not a pitevin. And what's the proof? Because we see sometimes it doesn't come down at all, and sometimes it comes down every day. And that's why it's called Gvuras Geshamim. This way it is nicker. It is recognizable, the greatness, the Gvura of a Kodesh Baruch Hu from all other things. And it says in the Gemara in Tainus, that it's shkula, it's compared, it's equal to Tchias HaMesim. Tchias HaMesim is the revival of the dead. Everyone, he says, is moda. Everyone understands there's no such thing. A revival of the dead cannot be a natural thing, right? Something can't decompose and then come back to life, right? Right? That doesn't exist in the real world. I think there's a virtual world out there where they do that all the time and all sorts of, the science fiction. This is not H.G. Wells, Chevra. This is not H.G. Wells. This is reality. Okay? And reality, there's no such thing as Tchias HaMesim Al Pi Teva. You cannot naturally revive the dead. And neither can you bring rain. Rain is Lamala Min HaTeva. It's in the hands of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, just like Tchias HaMesim. And it's based on a Gemara. The Gemara compares it to. And that's why the mentioning of rain, which is, by the way, tomorrow, which we're going to make a Tfilas Geshem on Shmini Atzeres, is based on, we mention rain. We don't ask for rain. We start mentioning rain in Gvuras Geshamim, in the second bracha of Shemona Esrei. And the Gemara says, and we do it just like we mentioned Tchias HaMeisim. We can mention in that bracha. We can all year long. We can start talking about Gvuras Hashem. Hashem brings the rain. They're both of them on the same level. Tchias HaMeisim, revival of the dead, and bringing rain. Both of them are totally in the hands of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's Lamala Min HaTeva. It's above the rules of nature. Okay, so that's point number 2, and that, my dear friends, is illustrated by the fact that it says Hashem Elokim. In other words, this is the first time in Chumash where Yud Kei Vav Kei is combined with the word Elokim. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the transcendent name of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's Lamala Min HaTeva. He's the one that brings the rain. He's the one who allows Elokim, who, as it were, the name of God that runs the world, to bring rain. Without Yud Kei Vav Kei, as it were, that name of Hashem has to be responsible for rain. It's an unbelievable word. Now there's a deeper element to this also. Now, these psukim are the first time when we have the mentioning of Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, in the Chumash. This is in Sefer Bereshis. And it's a famous point. Allah b'machshava, Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world b'midas hadin. He saw the world would not have a kiyum. It was his shituf, and he put together the midas harachamim. Hashem wanted to create the world. Allah b'machshava went up in Hashem's thoughts to create the world according to judgment, pure judgment, din. He saw the world would not be able to stand, and therefore he combined it with the element of mercy. It's a famous chazal. It's in the beginning of Chumash. Where is this shituf? When does it finally appear? It appears here. In other words, these are the first two times in this together, it says Hashem Elokim. This is what the Rashi in the beginning of Chumash is referring to when it says Hashem Elokim. That God put together the Midas Hadin, he put together with the Midas Harachamim. Now, if you understand what we've just said, that means Hashem wants that the world should have a key, and he wants the world to exist. So now he's about to create man. That's what happens next in this, right after the next pasuk. He starts talking about creating man. He wants to create a man that will have a chance of winning and going and being able to live and make it through. So therefore he has to be mishatev. He puts together the midas harachamim, the mercy. That's number one. And he also, in this is the section where he's providing for life itself. Water is the source of all life. That's why it's Lamala Min HaTeva. That's why it is above the rules of nature. Life is above the rules of nature. Life is in the hands of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And it's over here where he puts together the element of mercy together with the element of judgment. We're Elokim. I'm going to tell you something which I've mentioned in other forums, and you have to hear it well. This, if you get out your pointer and you start counting, that's tough, that's second grade. But you got to count. You count all the times it says Elokim. Yeah? It says Elokim. You'll get that this first, when it says Hashem Elokim, the first time here is number 36, and the second one is number 37. Okay? That's what Rashi is saying, that God put together the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei together with Elokim. It appears when Elokim appears in the Torah, God's name appears Elokim, number 36 and number 37. What's the significance of that? I want to tell you something which is unbelievable. But the Rami the Asar Mamaris is a Kadmon, explains as follows: that this is the shorish of a Kadosh Baruch Hu putting together the midah, this ability of mercy together with judgment, comes none other from Yitzchak Avinu on the Akedah. Yitzchak Avinu, our forefather Yitzchak, Isaac, when he went to the Akedah, when he went, that Avraham Avinu was going to sacrifice him, and Hashem then told him not to do it, his willingness to go on the altar, his willingness to sit there and give himself totally to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, that was the act which enabled for God to mishatev, to put together the midas harachamim, the midah of mercy, with the midah of judgment. And it was, Yitzchak was 37 years old. He was 37 years old, says the Mami Pano, sorry, Mamaris, that's the 37. And then he went into Gan Eden for 3 years. Okay. Now, Chavah, that's a very deep thought, but I'll explain it to you. But this unbelievable idea, what Hashem put together the midah of Rachamim, he put together mercy with judgment because of Yitzchak Avinu. And he says that's Meduyik in the Pasuk. The Pasuk says like this. Meduyik, he says of what? Eila Tola Shemayim V'Aretz Behi Baram. These are generations of Shemayim V'Aretz in his creation. B'Yom Asos Hashem Elokim Eretz V'Shemayim. Land and heaven. Now, for those of you familiar with the first pasuk in Chumash, most people go to a Chumash year, at least they get through the first pasuk, right? But this year we have the Zman starts in Parshas Noach, so that's the end of Parshas Bereishis, right? Okay, but anyhow, Chevra, be that as it may, but we all remember Bereishis bar Elokim es hashamayim v'es haaretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Everyone knows that pasuk. It says heavens first and then earth. Here it says earth, then heaven. So all the Meforshim want to know, why did it switch the order? It should say heaven before earth, and it says earth before heaven. So the simple pshat is, the Siftei Chamis says it, Kliyaka says it, pshat is, who needs the rachamim? Who needs the mercy? The Shemayim? No, Shemayim can live al pidin. The part of the world that needs mercy is Aretz. So therefore, they put Aretz first. They put the land first. But the Asar Ma'amaris lands like this. It's not just that we need it. It's because of Yitzchak Avinu. That's why Hashem did it. You hear Maisa? Because of the Aretz, because of a Maisa in the future, obviously, of Yitzchak Avinu. That Yitzchak Avinu is his ability to go on the Akedah. And he was going to now be in the level of Adam and Rishon before the sin. That's why Hashem puts together the midah of Rachamim with the midah of Din. Now, this idea of Yitzchak Avinu putting these two together is illustrated in the Gemara in Shabbos, which says that in the end of time, and by the way, the Yisar Mamor says it's his schus which we need tonight on Hoshana Rabbah. In the end of time, Hashem's going to look for schuyos. He's going to look for merit for the Jewish people, and he's not going to be able to find them. So he goes to Avraham, and then he goes to Yaakov. I'm just paraphrasing the Gemara. Ultimately, he has to go to Yitzchak. Then Yitzchak says, okay, Hashem, he makes a cheshbon. How much did they sin? They're always sleeping, and they're eating, and they're drinking. To make a long story short, ultimately he says, half on me and half on you. And if you want, I'll take the whole thing because I stuck out my neck for the Akedah. And Hashem accepts that. The one who's able to claim mercy on behalf of the Jewish people is none other than Yitzchak Avinu. Now, for all of my big Talmidei Chachamim who've been through Or Sameach 101, we all know that Yitzchak Avinu is Midas Ha-Din. He is the element of judgment. And he's the one that can ask for mercy for the entire Jewish people and ultimately the entire world. Now, I've always had that difficult to try to understand that. I think this year I had a simple shot when this is with how the Shloh explains it. It's like this. All of B'machshava, Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world with din. He saw the world could not fulfill, so he put in Shita for Rachman. Says the Shloh, you know what? That thought that Hashem had to create the world according to judgment, according to din, never went away. Hashem never gave up on his plans. This is not Hashem doesn't change his mind. You understand? Hashem doesn't change his mind. What do you mean change his mind? He's not changing his mind. The pshat is, he had a thought. That's the tachlis of the creation. That's the ultimate purpose of this world, is that the world should stand according to judgment. And that remains. So the one who was the first one, and the Chidi school afterwards, and I think he's referring to, he says, read the B'nai Ali B'hem Moatim, it's Rabbi Shimon Yochai in his son, Rabbi Elazar. He says, Rabbi Yitzchak Avinu and Yechidi school like him, who lived al pi din, they are the tachlis of the bria. That is why, that's the original machshava. Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem wants the world. He created a world that exists al pi din. So there's a Yitzchak Avinu in the world. I got what I wanted. I got what I wanted. That's what I wanted. That's what my machshava was. That's why I created the world. That my thought now is being fulfilled. My original ratzon for this world. Now that that's fulfilled, that individual can then ask for rachamim. He can now create, okay, Hashem, now what about the rest of the world? So Yitzchak Avinu now, since he was the one that fulfilled the original thought of creation, he can ask for rachamim for the entire creation. And that's what happens. See, he's the one. It's because of the Akedah, my dear friends, he weakens, as it were, the Midas Hadin. And that's in the very pasuk. And think about it. This is in the pasuk which we said is the introduction of what? Rain. And what did we say before? Rain is like Tchias HaMeisim. Well, you know what? Do you know what it says in the Zohar? When Yitzchak Avinu, he went on to the Akedah. This is for you, by the way. Little Zohar, listen, Chav, everyone has to have something to say over at the Shabbat, at the table tomorrow night. I heard a little Zohar, right? Okay? It says in the Zohar that when Yitzchak Avinu went up on the Akedah, now he didn't get shechted. Avraham Avinu wanted to do it. Hashem said, don't do it. Took him down. According to the Zohar, it was as if he was like a Bria Chadasha. He was like a new creation. And that was Tchias HaMeisim. He was being revived from the dead. It was like he died, as it were. And he was recreated when he came back down. Now, in metaphysical terms, Yitzchak was a new creation at that point. He was the first Tchias HaMeisim in the world. And that's why Yitzchak Avinu is the second blessing of the Shmona Esrei, which is Gvuras Geshamim and Tchias HaMeisim. Machayim Meisim, that's what we daven every day, 3 times a day. So that's the Keneged Yitzchak Avinu. He was the one who had Tchias HaMeisim. Because he is the one who lived al pi din. And since he lived al pi din, so therefore he was Zaycha to what Hashem wanted originally, that man should live forever. So he gets the Tchias HaMeisim. And that's the very same Parsha, which talks about, as it were, it's a remez, it's a hint to the Akedah, is the very same section which talks about the beginning of rain. Because they're really the same, they go together. Tchias HaMeisim and Geshem go together. They're both L'malam in a Teva. They're both in the hands of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And so Yitzchak is the one allows for the world to have a Hemshech, that the world should even go on. And ultimately, he's the one who is the progenitor of Tchias, of the revival of the dead. It's unbelievable. And this is all happening over here in this parsha about the water. Okay. I hope that if you think about this, it's mafia. It's unbelievable. That's the pshat. Now, let's get now a little bit to where we're holding. We're holding by Shana Rabbah, last day of Sukkot, right? So there are 2 avodas. There are 2 major avodas, services that we do in order to bring the rain. Now we just spoke about the rain. Now how are we zocheh to this rain? So it said in the Medrash that, through our Ma'asim Tovim. But specifically, on Sukkot, there are 2 things that we do in order to get rain. One of them is the arbor meaning. Okay? The 4 species that we take every day, the lulav, the esrog, the hadassim, and the aravas, they grow on rov mayim, and they come into Meratza, Kodesh Baruch Hu, and water. That's one of the reasons we take the Arba meaning is to push it to pray for water. We'll explain in a minute. And the other avodah we do, which we only do today in memory, is Nisuch HaMayim. Nisuch HaMayim means the water libations on the Mizbech, on the tabernacle, in the Beis HaMikdash, on the altar. They pour down water. Normally with a korban, with a sacrifice, the whole year long you put down wine. And for those who are familiar, on Sukkot, they brought water from the Mei Shalach. The Mishnah explains they brought the water from a stream outside Yerushalayim, and they made a big procession with a tremendous amount of joy, which we do every night, which is Zeicher, the Simchas Beis HaShoeva. And they brought that water, and that water, they had two holes on the Mizbeach, and one was a little wider than the other, and they wanted the water and the wine should go down the same speed, because obviously, little science, wine is a little thicker than water, right? So you have to have a wider hole. And they went down, they poured them together at the same time. There was this water Meshiloch, and that's called Nisuch HaMayim, water libations. And you know where that water goes? It goes into the Tahom. It goes into the center of the universe, the Tahom, where all the water is being held down. These two things, Nisuch HaMayim and the four species, are the two avodas that we do which bring water. Okay? So much so that the Gemara in Tainus is looking to learn out when we're supposed to shake a lulav, and starts bringing proofs from Nisuch HaMayim, from the libations of the water. It means it seems that these two things, since they're both coming to appease and allow Hashem to give us water, so we learn one from the other. That's how close they are together. Okay. Now, let's understand a little bit about the Nisuch HaMayim. Nisuch HaMayim is I want to explain to you something very clear, and I think it'll open up your eyes to just a very basic point. What is Nisuch HaMayim? So the Medrash says like this. The Medrash says that when Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, second day of creation, he had to separate from the Mayim Elyonim and Mayim Tachtonim. He separated from the upper waters to the lower waters. Okay? And he took the water from above and he put it down below. And the water up above is called Shemayim. Shamayim. There is water. So says the Medrash. Mayim Tachtonim Nikrayim Mayim Boichim. The water which went below is called water which cries. Lama Nikra Mayim Boichim. Ki b'shah shechilak HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mayim. I'm reading a Medrash. When he divided the water, Nasan Elamah Elamati, put these up above and these below. Hitchila Mayim Tachtonim Bochim. The water down below started crying. It brings a pasuk. And then they got very upset and they started, they wanted to, they made crevices in the world. Oy lanu shelo zachinu. Woe is to us, lo zachinu. We didn't merit la los lama lios krovim liosreinu. They were upset. They were taken away from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So they wanted then to envelop the world. Hashem had to scream at them, don't flood the world. Omalem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ho'il l'kvodi asitem, kolchach, since you did this only because of me. So he says, Ein lahem rishus l'mayim alyonim lo mashira, until they get permission from the Mayim Tachtonim. The Mayim alyonim can't say shira, praise to Hashem, without getting permission from the Mayim Tachtonim. V'lo od el shasidim atem lekarv al mizbech b'melech. You will be brought onto the altar with salt. U'b'nisach hamayim. Okay? So let's leave salt for now. The water, which was put down into this world, did not want to be here, was separated from the Rabbah Hashem. It wants to go up. Hashem forces it down. And that's the famous Gemara about David HaMelech. David HaMelech is busy digging for the Beis HaMikdash. He digs the shittim. He sees a little piece of cheres. He says, let me see what's going to be here. Picks it up. Then all the water wants to flood the world. Famous Gemara. So then, has to put it back. It says on this, what it says on that little piece of clay? Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Says the Mashal. It's a Yerushalmi. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. It's there from the time the Klal Yisrael received the Torah. That's the kiyum of the world. That's why the world exists, and that's why the world is not flooded. And that's what keeps it down. This water wants to come up. It wants to be by its creator. It's being kept down. Two things it gets a chance to come back. One is salt. Salt is used on the korbanos. Salt is really a combination of fire and water. Okay? And, you have water from the sea. If you take seawater and you heat it up, you get salt. So then you have salt, that's salt. And then you have the Nisach HaMayim. The Nisach HaMayim is the water being brought back on the Mizbeah, brought back on the altar, and returning to its creator. It finally made it. You know what that means? That means that this creation is finally coming back in contact with its source. That the water which Hashem has put into this world, so the world can't even exist, because the whole thing exists on water. And this whole Bria is now coming back to the shores. It's coming back to its creator. That's the simcha of the Nisach HaMayim. Why is it such a great simcha? Shavta Mayim B'Sason. We have to go in there and make a tremendous procession, and all the tzaddikim was singing for the Kapara Savanos, etc. All the joy that comes on the simplest basis with the drawing of the water, and ultimately the pouring of the water. That's because the world is now returning and uniting it back together with its creator. The Nisach HaMayim is that primordial water coming back. Finally, now I'm with my creator. That's the joy. My dear friends, think about it. If you're able to get this world to reunite with its creator, you know what you get? Geshem. You get rain. And what have we been saying here? Geshem is lamala min hateva. It's above the world. It's above. It's from a Chodesh Baruch Hu direct. Meaning, when we do our avoda, when this world finally finds its way back and comes back to Hashem fully and reunites, then you know what? Then the physical, the natural order, we go beyond the natural order. We get rain. Rain is from Hashem. We get Tchias HaMeisim. This world goes on forever. That's the Nisach HaMayim. That's why there's such a joy. There's such a pleasure. The world is finally reaching its purpose. Okay, we're not fully there, but it's Ke'ein that's ultimately what's being represented here. That's the Nisach HaMayim. The water which goes back, and that's the world reuniting with its creator. When the whole world does the will of Hashem, that's the physical war, that's the water serving a Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the entire creation coming back to Hashem, L'mala min hateva. And when a man gives himself totally over to the service of Rabban Shalom, i.e. Yitzchak Avinu, that's Tchias HaMeisim. Then you get Tchias HaMeisim. That's by a man. That's when the life goes on forever. The world can get rain, which is from Hashem, and then man can go on ultimately forever. Now, these two avodas are both accompanied by a certain shira. Let's understand it. What I mean is as follows. Let's talk about the Arba meaning for a moment. The Arba meaning, we shake the Arba meaning, the four species, when we're taking the lulav, we shake it in the middle of Halal. Okay? Right? You shake it, right? Hodul Hashem kitov kilam chazdo, and Ana Hashem ashirna. Right? We do this we've been doing it every morning. What's the source of doing that? Why do we do that? So listen to this. Tosfos says, in the Gemara in Sukkot, he says as follows, that the source for doing that is from the following psukim. David HaMelech had come back, and the Aron Kodesh had been returned to Yerushalayim, and he then said what is actually a kapitel Tehillim. The following pasuk appears. Az Yurananu Atzeh Yor, and then we'll sing the trees of the forest, min lifnei Hashem, in front of Hashem, ki vo lishpot es haaretz, that he's coming to judge the world. And then afterwards, and then it says, Hodul Hashem ki tov, ki le'olam chazdo. And then it says, Ve'imru, and you shall say, Hoshienu, Hashem Hoshienu Elokei Yishenu. Save me, the God of my salvation, B'kabseinu v'atzilenu min hagoyim. In other words, there's a remez, there's an allusion to the concept of the Atzeh HaYoar, the trees of the forest, singing out to a Kadosh Baruch Hu because he's coming to judge the world, which means, say the Meforshim, that the world is going to be judged, means Hashem's presence is going to be fully innovating the entire universe. And then we say, Hodu Hashem, thank you Hashem, Ki Tov, Ki Lam Chasdo, your chesed is forever. And then save us from the nations who come to try to hurt us. So it says, Hodu Hashem and An Hashem Moshiach. And that's why we shake them, because that's the song, as it were, of the Atzeh HaYoar. Now, I want you to understand something. We all know that the Arba Minim represent four elements, four types of Jews, right? There's the Talmidei Chachamim, the Tzaddikim, the Bali Mitzvahs, and then there's the Rishonim, right? And then you have the Arba Minim, the four species represent the body of a man. The Esrog is the heart. The Lulav is the spine, right? The Aravis are the lips, and the Hadassim are the eyes, right? These are famous midrashim. What is Chazal telling us? The Bria, in its spiritual sense, is like a man. It's a komas ha'adam. And that Bria is singing praise to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's saying, thank you Hashem. Thank you that we're here. Thank you that you're innovating our universe. When you shake those Arba Minim, when you shake them, you shake the whole, as it were, you're bringing these are species which rely on water. But it's the Atzayar, it represents the entire Jewish people. It represents the composite of a man's body. It represents the entire Bria singing out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're bringing the Bria, as it were, man, through his shaking of this, is not just shaking for himself, but he's using, as it were, that the Bria is saying praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the song, the rina of the Atzeh HaYoar, which comes on with the Arba Minim. They're singing out the praise of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's number one. And number two, there's a song of the Nisach HaMayim. The Gemara says as follows. The Gemara says, listen to this. Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Kisheminaskim es hamayim, when they do the water libations, b'chag, tahom omer lechavero, tahom means the cavity, says to its friend, Abba meimecha, bring your water. Kol shnei reim ani shomei. It says, as it were, I hear two friends speaking. Shenemar tahom el tanom kore lekol tzinarayach. The tahom calls it to tahom, the voice of the tube of the pipe. Says the Marsha, you know what that means? Tahom el tahom means the mayim elyonim is the tahom of the elyonim. The tahom is the mayim taktonim. They're calling out to one another and they say, I hear two reim, two friends. Who's that? That's the water and the wine, which are going down Sinarayach into the pipes, into the shitim. And I hear the song that's being sung with them as they're being with these water libations together with the wine. All that joy, all that shira, all that celebration that surrounds the Nisach HaMayim and the actual the drawing of the water and the korban, the song on the korban itself, on the sacrifice. That song is that's the waters hearing one another. They're joining together. Call out they hear the song of the Nisach HaMayim. They're both accompanied by a song. So that is how we are, in a short sense, how we're zoicher to, how do we merit water? We merit the water by either with the Nisach HaMayim, means when the water is be brought back to its creator, and then we get the Malamin, we get Geshem, we do the Arba Minim, we bring the entire Bria, we turn the entire new universe to call out the praise of Hashem. Now, I want to share with you a medrash like this. Now, I don't know if anybody looks at titles, but I titled this thing "Singing for Rain." Now, you know, that's a takeoff on something. So I found this smile. The Rabbi says, what about when you get the rain? What about when you get the rain? So now, it says like this. Goy echad shah. He asked one of the Chachamim, Atem yesh lechem moedos, you people have holidays? Well, I don't yesh lana moedos, we just have our holidays. B'shah atem smeichim, when you're happy, ein hanu smeichim, we're not happy. B'shah anu smeichim, and when we're happy, ein atem smeichim, you're not happy. Ein masai anu v'atem smeichim, when are we both happy? Yeah, this non-Jew is saying to the Chachamim, when are the Umos Ha'olam, when are they together with us in happiness? The Yeridas HaGeshamim. My timer, love Shukarim, because there's a certain, the joy of the Geshem and the bringing of the flowering that it brings, etc., that brings joys to everybody. Rain is a source of joy. It says earlier also, it says that the Amar Rabbi Yodim b'Shem Rabbi Eliezer bar Avina, Amar Bazush, it says both by Geshem and by Tchias HaMeisim. Bazu Shira or Bazu Shira. There's a song for this one and there's a song for that one. Bazu Shira, Yeranu Yoshvei Sela, that's for the revival of the dead. Bazu Shira, Yisra'u Af Yashiru. Number one. So the nations of the world join us in the joy of having rain. So I just like to remind you that Chazal tell us that in the end of time, it won't be enough for them to just say thank you. What's going to be in the end of time? It says that, this is in Zechariah, after the final, the Gog and Magog, the final war, whatever you want to call it, and the Goyim that are left over, we call it Goyim Baima al Yerushalayim, they're going to come to Jerusalem. They're going to come to bow down to the Melech Hashem. Which is what the Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, that they're going to come, they're going to do sukkahs. Now listen to this. And if someone doesn't come up from the nations of the world, they don't come, no rain. They got to come. Now what are they going to do when they come here? Says Rashi. Rashi says, the feature mitzvah chag al geshamim arba minim shavulu l'nisach hamayim l'ratzos hamayim. Right? Bizman gishmei shana. It's the time for the beginning of rain. Ve'elu mefach bekim b'chag. Anyone who doubts the chag b'chag ha'sukkos lo yeh le'em hageshem. Someone who doesn't appreciate Chag HaSukkos, meaning if they don't understand the Nisach HaMayim, if they don't understand that there's the Arba Minim, if they don't have to understand that they're sitting in the Sukkah, in other words, even the nations of the world, they're not going to sit in the Sukkah. Maybe it's much more, they might sit in the Sukkah, but they're not going to do Nisach HaMayim, and they're certainly not going to take the Arba Minim. It's not talking about becoming Gary, they're not becoming Gary Tzedek here. They're coming as nations of the world. But they have to come and relate to the fact and have a munah. Hoshana Rashi is you have to have a munah. You have to have a munah in Sukkot. You have to understand what Sukkot is. That Sukkot and the avodah of Sukkot is going to bring the rain. So the nations are going to be happy. They'll be happy when there's rain, but they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to relate to the fact that really rain is l'mala min hateva. It's above the way of the natural order. And the way to get rain is not by seeding clouds. The way to get rain is to come to Yerushalayim. When the Jewish people are busy doing their avodah, and they're busy shaking their lulav, and they're busy with their Nisach HaMayim. That's how the whole entire world will get rain. And then when the entire world will get that rain, they can share with us a song a song for the rain. That song we're going to sing. We're going to sing together with them. We can sing. Everyone's going to be happy about the rain. But at L'chor, there's one song that is, it's for Tchias Amesim, and that L'chor is for the Yidden who are going to be Zoichet to Tchias Amesim, and that's the song which ultimately is reflected in the Geshem and the ultimate tikkun of these avodas and Yitzchak Avinu as we lead into Hoshana Rabbah and Shmini Atzeres. So that's the song that we want to sing. We want to sing a song. We want to be able to sing the song when we get that Geshem. We were Zoichet to the Geshem. We don't have any of these real avodas today. We have the Abba Minim, but we don't have Nisach Hamayim. We have a Zeicher, but we have our avoda. We have our Zeicher. We have our Abba Minim. We have our Kippur and our Slicha Be'ez Hashem from a Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim. We are the Jewish people. Where do you find a group of people who can clamor in a shuk? Hundreds of people, thousands of people to buy hadassim and a lulav and an esrog. You go to the shuk, hundreds, not thousands of people. I want this, and they spend good money. And what do they want? They want a mitzvah. Where do you find such a group of people? They want a mitzvah. They just want a mitzvah. And then when we get that mitzvah, we have the 7 days of Sukkot to rejoice with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That Be'ez Hashem tonight and tomorrow in our Avoda with the Shacharis, we should be Zoicha Be'ez Hashem for Chasima of Mayim, and Be'ez Hashem we should be Zoicha to go into Shmini Atzeres, which is Kain Olam Haba.